It's a woman who's frustrated because we get in places where life just gets in our way, and distractions get in our way. So, woman's looking for her partner to be present, at the time. We're together, but be present with me. And he's really good at coming up with a lot of excuses. Well, I got to do this, I got to do that, I'm going to see my buddy, I'm going to, and she just says, look, we've got something here. We got passion, we've got fire, we've got, but you're missing it. You're like, you're so distracted that you're missing what we can have. And so that's really the point of the I should say, song or story.
That, it's uncanny that you describe it that way. My wife and I we've known each other 50 years. We've been married for 38 and a half years. And when we were in, our younger years, I can remember, being married was this new novelty, but I still want to go hang with my friends. I still want to go over to my buddy's house and maybe smoke a joint with him. There's all these things that you're used to doing, but now your whole life has taken this sharp turn, and you don't realize how much better it is and the great, wonderful thing that you've done for yourself until maybe even as much as 10 or 15 years later. And I tell you what, I thank God every day I did recognize that.
I couldn't agree more. And, it's lyrically, when I was putting this together, I had this messaging, the same messaging, but I was being too literal. And one of the approaches I took with this is take a step back and think, if I were actually having this conversation, I would be a little bit frustrated. So some of the lyrical content is to have that, a little bit of frustration and not complete sentences. And so you can almost feel the woman saying, geez, I can't, you're not understanding, you're not listening to me. And that was the sense I was really trying to go for a very darker love song than a lot of the music I put out.
A lot of your music has been very, very upbeat and even to the point of inspiring. It is unusual to think of you doing a darker message song. I did want to flash back on one thing you said that really intrigued me. You were mentioning in terms of your music and the dance music that you do, that sometimes you don't want to dance. And I immediately thought, what a great comeback tune that would be to the Bee Gees. Should be dancing. I lost the title. It would have been a great comeback. I don't want to dance. Listen, aside from what you've already done and do and don't want to do, what do you look forward to most? What do you want to do most with your career and perhaps be best remembered for?
Wow. That one's hard. I mean, I would love to be known as a great songwriter, but now that I've gotten into film, I'm addicted very almost similarly to the songwriting piece of it. I guess if I had to choose, I'd say, I want to be known as this, very creative person who can take an idea and make it grow into beautiful flowers.
Good.
When you make up a ballad, though, there's got to be some kind of a formulaic type of thing going on in your heads, thinking to yourself, okay, I want to make a love ballad. Two people fall in love and they go through the course of life together, and these bad things happen, these good things happen. Typical ballad, typical content. How do you, as an artist, as a creator of prose, put that together so it's not just some pablum and fluff that, Joe and Josephine musician may be putting together themselves?
I look at different relationships or different times in relationships as part of the story. And sometimes those stories remind me of things. Back in 2015, I wrote this song it's called Rolling Stone. it was all about how, we put up these invisible walls to protect ourselves. And so the ballad or dance song at Rolling Stone is all about how do we tear these down. And so I kind of look at, and that's just one example of how I typically like to look at situations and relationships as they relate to something that is tangible that people can wrap their heads around. So if you look at, for instance, a ballad that, a love song, I shouldn't say the word ballad, called Wanna Go. Well, it's all about how you're emulating the first time you fall in love with the dolphins flying through the ocean. And for me, I think it's because a lot of people have a hard time wrapping their head around some of their feelings. They might be conflicted feelings, or they're new feelings, or they're a little bit different than they're used to. And so, to get my point across, I feel like, well, I need to pick something that people would understand. And when you see a dolphin just jumping and leaping over, I mean, first thing you think of, I want to be a dolphin, right? I want to feel that free. I want to feel that. And so that's kind of where I come from when I'm writing something. And if I can't visualize what a feeling looks like, I find that to be not only challenging for me, but it would be challenging for the listener to be able to relate to that story.
You've had a very remarkably varied career, and in scanning through some of the things you've done, your accomplishments and everything, I'm really kind of blown away, and I would suggest that any of our listeners who are interested, who are into you and your music, I suggest you check out Wikipedia, because they have an amazing summary of this lady's fascinating career. I was excited and fascinated, if I can overwork that word, to find out that you had spent a couple of years in broadcast. Unfortunately, I didn't work in Nebraska or Kansas, and you didn't work in upstate New York or Florida where I worked, so we never crossed paths. But what did you feel, what did you get from your radio career, your broadcast career?
Oh, I love radio. I think radio is, it's a medium that is just fun. And what goes on inside the radio booth is just, I always had a great time. Because it forces you to be creative. How do you talk to people and keep them interested when you can't see anybody and you can't hear anybody? And so it immediately makes you become animated. It makes you think outside of the box. And so I always enjoyed radio from that standpoint. And you always got access to all this great new music. And so that was always fun. Oh, I haven't heard this song before, They'd send you things, all the labels would send you brand new songs. And so you kind of got the first blush at some of that. So I enjoyed it.
I know John can as well. I completely relate and identify to that. That was one of the things that I always tried to do in my radio career, was when I spoke to a microphone, I wasn't into a microphone. I was talking to that specific listener. I tried to create the impression that whoever you were, if you were listening to me, I was talking to you. And you've absolutely got that. We thank you so much for sharing with us. The one thing I have to request of you is, please don't stay away so long. We really enjoy having you here, and you've definitely got much to share, including the music. We're going to play another track right now. Thank you so much again, Kim, for joining us. Keep in touch. Let us know what's going on so that we can help share the word, and we look forward to talking to you again real soon.
Thanks, guys.
You're welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, Kim Cameron, no better day than today. How appropriate. no better day than today. Her name is Kim Cameron, and we were so excited to have her back here on the show. Also excited to have the rockin' Davy Williamson. We thank you both so very much for sharing time with us today, sharing a story, and we thank you, our listeners, for listening today and every day we're on, because without you, there would not be an us. John Bon Jovial, I think it's time you take us home.
Yes, sir. Great show today. Thank you, folks, for being with us. And thank you for taking another hour out of your life and spending it with us here at the David Bowers Awards. You know, we never take you for granted, and we are grateful for each and every one of you. The David Bowers Awards is broadcast around the world from the studios of Computer Help USA in Naples, Florida, and, of course, from the Valley of the Sun in Tempe, Arizona. We are available for free on most of the major streaming services, and including now the new podchaser.com/The David Bowers. Follow the David Bowers Awards on Blog Talk Radio, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, all the usual places. And join us for next week's show of the David Bowers Awards, Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern on WRFZ FM 106.3 in Rochester, New York. That, of course, being Rochester Free Radio. And on Blog Talk Radio, Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, and 6 p.m. UTC. So until next week, for the David Bowers and all of our crew of slightly off-center people, this is the legendary and sometimes lovable John Bon Jovial saying, be good to each other. Support your local radio station, WRFC. These guys are great. We love having you as listeners, and we'll see you next week right here on the David Bowers Awards.